Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video. I'm GetGoodGuy, and today we're talking about the Fedorov Trench's brother, or what I've dubbed the Ugly Duckling. The weapon in question is, of course, the Fedorov Optical, as whenever anyone mentions the Fedorov, it seems like the vast majority of people don't even consider that the topic at hand may be the optical variant. The community tends to have a default setting of picturing the ever-popular trench and leaving the Ugly Duckling to play on its own. So today I'll be going over the strengths and weaknesses of the optical to see if it's worth more of the playbase's attention. Is the Fedorov Optical capable of becoming a beautiful swan? This all being said, the optical variant actually tends to be the fourth most popular medic rifle, which really surprised me. You can let me know if that comes as a surprise to you as well, but for me, I very rarely notice being killed by it, and as I just mentioned, I very rarely hear anyone talk about it either. But it still retains its position as the Ugly Duckling, as the Fedorov Trench is the second most popular medic rifle by a clear distance, only being beaten by the autoloading extended, which I will therefore use as a comparison weapon for several points in this video. So let's jump straight into comparing the stats of the optical and the trench Fedorov. As always, I've sourced these stats from Simthic.com. Essentially, the main differences come down to spread. The optical is superior for aiming down sight accuracy, both when moving and standing still. When not moving, it has a stat of 0.35 compared to the trench's 0.18, and when moving, it has a stat of 0.615 compared to the trench's 0.82. These stats also beat out those of other supposed close quarters medic options with decent ammo capacities, such as the autoloading extended and the M1907 SL Sweeper. And yet, I can't help but feel like the bullets either miss or don't register quite a lot of the time when using the Fedorov Optical. This leaves some gunfights feeling like they're going on for longer than I'd anticipate. You know when you play a game for long enough to know essentially when you've shot someone enough for them to die? Well, with the Fedorov Optical, I was just getting it consistently wrong. The amount of time I generally needed to shoot someone for felt extended. Now, both variants of the Fedorov do have horizontal recoil stats of 0.2, whereas the medic class favourite, the autoloading extended, has a stat of 0.15, so perhaps this has some sort of impact upon missing shots, or at least making it appear that your bullets aren't going where you would expect them to. This concept would seem to have some sort of validity to it as well when you consider Hipfire. The trench variant obviously excels when it comes to Hipfire, with far better relevant stats across the board for not aiming down sight when compared with the optical variant. Therefore, a player is encouraged to hipfire as much as reasonably possible, and therefore those missed shots while in ADS wouldn't be as regularly noticeable, whereas with the optical, it's a near constant feature of contesting gunfights, at least for me. That's not to say that the optical variant can't be used for hipfire, because it absolutely can, but it's less reliable and can only be utilised at shorter ranges when compared with the trench. But beyond this, the feeling of longer times to kill could be due to the Fedorov requiring 4 bullets to kill at ranges where most other assault and medic weapons require 3. To reference the autoloading extended once again, it requires 3 bullets out to 22 meters. The Fedorov requires 4, and it thus has a far slower optimal time to kill out to the 22 meter mark. This kind of flies in the face of what we've perhaps been conditioned to expect from the Fedorov. It's a fully automatic medic rifle designed to dominate at close range, right? Well, yes, but also no. At this current state of the game, it actually lags behind for kill time when compared with quite a lot of alternatives. Sure, it's a standout for ease of use, you just hold the trigger down, but it's not capable of taking a player to the same heights as some other potentially harder to use weapons. It actually starts to beat out weapons such as the autoloading extended at more mid-range, but by then you're competing with the Farquhar Hill, LMGs, the Ribeirolais, etc, etc. So really the Fedorov fails to shine like it perhaps once did pre-TTK patch, and with the optical having less of an ability to rely on spray and pray hip firing to make up for those drawbacks, the issues are just compounded. However, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. For those who like the Fedorov as a weapon, or simply choose to focus upon fully automatic weapons regardless, the optical does allow you to pick people off further away than the trench does, even if it isn't exactly a good medium range option. It beats the trench variant for spread increase per shot and spread decrease, so you can supposedly maintain your accuracy more so whilst firing off those rounds. Although I've stated why this still doesn't seem like too much of a strength for me for this weapon. I did, however, have some success with trigger tapping or burst firing enemies from extended ranges. The optical sight made it somewhat easier to pull this off as well due to the precision that could be achieved. And if you just straight up prefer optical sights, then this variant may well be your go-to. So this Ugly Duckling could become more of a swan for some players. For those who specifically like this sort of weapon but want a little more range and ADS capability. But as an option for the vast majority of players, with every other weapon in the game being taken into consideration, well, to me it just remains the Ugly Duckling. If you want my overarching opinion, the true Ugly Duckling set to be a beautiful swan is the Fedorov Optical, or however you pronounce that, which I haven't mentioned so far due to it currently only being available if you pre-order Battlefield 5. But if you do have it or end up getting it, then I'd say the Degtyarev is comfortably the best variant of the Fedorov. It takes some of the weaknesses of both the optical and the trench, but overall it has the best recoil and the ability to utilize a bipod for true mid-range viability. But this is all my opinion. What do you think? Which variant of the Fedorov do you prefer, or do you stay way clear of it and go for something else? Let me know in the comment section below. Now let's go over to the Board of Awesome for the epic people who allow you to get content from me full time by supporting the channel on Patreon. Without Patreon support, I simply couldn't make this much content or put as much time into each individual video because I'd need to go and get another job. So thank you so much to everybody on here. If you want to join them on the Board of Awesome, the link to the Patreon page is in the description and in my pinned comment. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you don't want to miss future videos, turn on notifications with the bell button and select to always be notified with the options tab that should then pop up, and then feel free to like, share and subscribe. I'm GetGoodGuy and I'll see you next time. Laters.